living the dream? It's time for True. This is the place for tools, power, and real talk so you can create the life you dream and deserve. Your ultimate life. Subscribe, share, create. You have infinite power.
Hello and welcome to Your Ultimate Life. Your ultimate life. Purpose, prosperity, joy. What does it take to get that to be your regular experience? We all have periods of a lot of fun, or periods where we've hit some goals, or stuff just lines up and it happens. You know, that kind of stuff happens to us. You have some of that, I have some of that. But I'm talking about something much, much, much deeper. Not one layer, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers deeper. And that's this. What does it take? Who do you have to be, or who do I have to be, so you live your ultimate life every day? Is that impossible? You might wonder that. You might think, well, it's impossible. Can't happen. Nobody can have ultimate life every day. And I guess I differ. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Now, there are lots of ways to think about that. And we're going to talk about some of them. And I named this episode The Heart of the Matter because there are things that are outside of stuff, you know, peripheral stuff that don't matter very much. It's kind of like if you think about taking care of your lawn. If you do some work around the edges, but the middle of the lawn's a mess, or if you do a little bit of weeding in the flower bed, but the main stuff is like not taken care of, you haven't handled it. The heart of the matter is the heart of the matter, the core, the real substance. And today I want to talk about that substance, okay? We're diving right for the heart of the matter. Just like, not just the phrase, because that's a cliche, but I want you to think about what does it mean for you, for me, for the world? We live in a world of turmoil, of chaos, of confusion, of anger, of frustration, of people cussing at each other and yelling. And my wife and I, we live in Canada right now, and we're in the midst, as I record this, by the time you see it, it might even be done. We're in the midst of an election cycle here in Canada to elect a new premier. And the United States, Joy and I are both dual national, and so we're citizens of the U.S. also, but we live in Canada and have for the last 8 years, I guess. But the United States has just gone through a noisy election, and there's all kinds of noise afterwards, all kinds of hate and anger and people burning things and whatever, just nuts, crazy behavior. Nothing warranted, you know, nothing is going on that warrants that kind of insanity. And that's the kind of world we live in. Anger, frustration, burning, rage, hatred, destruction. And so when you talk about ultimate life, it's like, you're crazy, Kellan, you're smoking something. And I want to assure you I'm not. Now, you're going to have a definition of the ultimate life that's your own. If you think about what would the ultimate life be like for you, what is that? I don't know. I'll tell you what it is for me. I certainly need, you know, the basic needs, food, clothing, and shelter. But I don't even include those because I'm assuming that at a base layer. The ultimate life for me is a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. And that word prosperity there in the middle includes all of that stuff about money and rent and everything. But I don't think that's the first piece, because prosperity is a state of mind. And I'll tell you why I say that. I know people, and so do you probably, that have more money than they could possibly spend, that are miserable. I know people that don't have a lot of money, that just get by, and they're not, you know, in food lines, but they just get by, and they're deliriously happy. And that's not unusual. I personally have experienced times where I had enough money to get by, but certainly wasn't anything above lower middle class at that time, and I was happy. And I've experienced a time in my life where I made so much money I didn't really know what to do with it, and I was miserable. So my personal experience and people that I know, happiness and the level of income doesn't correlate. So I use the words purpose, prosperity, and joy. What do you use? Today I want to get to the heart of the matter. I want to talk about your heart, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, and why you actually matter so much. Like, it is easy to think, we don't matter. I don't matter. What I do doesn't matter. I'm a ridiculous small footnote in the world, just one insignificant person on one insignificant planet, etc., etc. It's not true. You're a divine being. The Creator knows your name, knows what you're doing, and cares. My own experience is that I was mostly ignorant by choice of the opportunities and power that were available to me. At any time I wanted to go get them, I wasn't willing to open the package, do the work, put the tools together, like some assembly required. The dreaded words on an IKEA piece of furniture, right? Some assembly required. And you know, if you put those things together, and not just IKEA, but other furniture too, sometimes it's quite a challenge. Life is like that. Success is like that. Happiness is like that. Purpose, prosperity, and joy, that ultimate life, some assembly required. In fact, a lot of assembly and a lot of maintenance. It's not one and done. There's nothing about it that's one and done. But that shouldn't surprise you. If you grow a beautiful garden and you want it to stay a beautiful garden, then you have to weed it and nurture it. If you live where it's cold, you might have to take certain, precautions when it freezes. And if you live up in Canada, like where we do, you don't grow stuff in the winter because it's under snow. But after the snow comes the growing season. We're getting there right now. May. The middle of May is about when you start planting here where we live. People say often Victoria Day weekend, which is the weekend before Memorial Day in the United States, that's the planting time for your flowers and your garden and that sort of stuff. But it takes work. If you want to have a beautiful house, you have to maintain it. If you want to keep yourself in shape and healthy, you have to maintain it. So even creating a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy, if you want to keep it, you got to do something. And that's not news. So here's why I want to talk about why you matter. I want to talk about why having goals that align with your soul, it's not a luxury. It's required. They're necessities to live that life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. I had the beautiful opportunity to speak with someone today who was successful in business owner, and, has created good success. And they were expressing to me the yearning that they're now feeling to add good to the world, to have a purpose, were the words that this individual used, looking for purpose. And the business they have is a great one and does great things. And still they're saying, I need to figure out why I'm here. What is the purpose of my existence? What a powerful and important question. So let's start. Let's start first with your own heart, the heart of the matter in your own self. Okay? Let's start there. So here's the core message. The world, the structure of the world tries to harden you, to desensitize you, to pull you down, to make you think you don't matter. Just look around you, whether it's colleagues, competitors, work environment, illnesses, other challenges. It can easily make you unsensitive, desensitize you, turn your loving and compassion down. But in your heart is the truth. Your heart is where your divine blueprint is. Now, you look at an acorn. That acorn has everything it needs to turn into a giant oak tree. Now, it needs water and dirt. But the blueprint is in there. The blueprint of your divine expression is already in your heart. One of the things I learned when I died is that you are a lovingly crafted divine being. You have the DNA of divinity in you. You're a son or daughter of the divine, period. Now think about that for a minute. An infinite, perfect being created you with love, with kindness, and with intention. And you know what else? It wasn't just, well, here you are, created, have a nice life. No, you have a purpose. You have a mission. You have a reason for being here. And I know that from dying and having the conversations I had with God, but you know it in your heart already. That yearning I was hearing expressed earlier today from that individual was talking about that yearning. And I hear that all the time. The yearning to do good, to add good to the world, to make a difference. We're built that way. And the good news is you have a mission. You knew before you came here what it was. We've forgotten and we have to rediscover it, but you have it. And it was something you and I were excited about. We not only agreed, but we were excited to do that. The third thing to think about is that you have gifts and talents. Maybe you know what they are and maybe you don't, but you have divine gifts. Now let's talk about some of them. Some obvious ones are someone who's very physically inclined, very coordinated and very athletically inclined. That's a gift. Someone who listens really well and is empathetic and can hear between the lines. That's a gift. Someone whose very presence makes someone just feel comfortable and blessed. That's a gift. Some have the gift of just knowing what to say, or the gift of solving a problem or seeing a way forward. I knew a person once who was it just amazed me over and over again. I was with them, at various times, and when something would happen, a conversation or a problem, and sometimes a big problem, and they would always just seem to know what to say and who to say it to. And I was in awe over and over again about that. What a gift. Some people are blessed with just a tender heart where they have great empathy and the others can feel that empathy and they feel cared for. Those are all gifts. Yeah, some people have a musical gift. I have that. Some people have physical gifts. Some people have artistic gifts. But all of us have more than one gift, and those gifts are correlated to the mission and purpose that we have. So I'm speaking to you right now. The heart, your heart is divine. You have a divine blueprint, you have gifts, and you have a purpose. And the fourth thing that I know from my own death experience is that all the help we need is available from divine and from earthly sources. If the problem, quote, or the catch, if there is one, is we have to go looking. We have to go looking for that help. We have to ask for it, because it seems clearly to me that our time here is not supposed to be easy. It's challenging, and we have the opportunity to develop or the opportunity to not develop. We have the opportunity to seek or not seek. Seek and ye shall find. And it doesn't say seek and ye shall find on the first try and it won't be very hard. I've never seen that anywhere. Seek and ye shall find means keep looking until you find. Keep going, because one of the things I've learned to develop is this perseverance. I'm not giving up. I'm going to this goal, whatever it is. My goal this year is 300 million. By October 14th, reaching 300 million people with this message of divinity, capability, possibility, to assure you of your own ability to create the ultimate life, however you define it, and to give you all the help I can to get there. I have books and programs and coaching and other things that I offer to help, because my mission, my divine mission, is to help you find and live yours. I had the opportunity to develop myself to a place where I live that joy every day. And now it's so exciting. I can't wait to share it with everybody everywhere. And your divine mission is different than mine, and your ultimate life is different than mine. But you can have it. And the heart of that matter is you're valuable. You're worth an infinite amount. You have a birthright to receive intuition and inspiration. And the worth of your soul is infinite. So the problem comes because we don't believe that. We allow those forces around us that harden us to desensitize us, ignoring intuition, ignoring inspiration, pushing away those nudges, those inner nudges, those little voices, those spiritual promptings that we all have from time to time. We get afraid and we surrender to fear instead of surrendering to the divine. The feeling that comes up in me and you about being afraid we'll be judged or fail or whatever that is a fear, but it is an idea about the future. I have the idea that I'm going to fail, be embarrassed, look stupid, be wrong, be rejected, whatever. You know what? The spiritual promptings are also nudges, and they are ideas about the future also. Maybe a minute in the future, maybe an hour, maybe next week, next month, or next year. But you have a yearning to be more, to love more, to lift more, to bless more. We're built to love and serve each other. So the first heart of the matter is you, your own heart, to learn to listen, to cultivate your intuition, and to love yourself fiercely. You are so valuable. If I gave you a challenge right now, it would be to start today and take 5 minutes, set a timer on your phone, 5 minutes, and get in front of the mirror and look in your own eyes and just say, I love you. And if that's hard or feels awkward or you want to look away, then here's a step in between to make it easier. You can love yourself right now just because you're on this mission. Like you're already in the top 1% or 1/10 of 1% just because you're on the mission to improve yourself, to love, to find your gifts, to serve, to create purpose, prosperity, and joy. And again, you can substitute your words, but those are mine. So many people, they settle and are addicted to mediocrity. Addiction to mediocrity. It's just kind of, okay, whatever. This is as good as it gets. I can't. It's not my lot. Those other guys had breaks. Those kinds of stories. And we live far below our own potential, which is so sad. Because then we experience life at 1/10 the joy we could have had. There's a poem that says, I bargained with life for a penny. And then I don't have that poem memorized, but I bargained with life for a penny. And when life was done, life would pay no more because that's what I'd agreed to. And to my sadness, I learned that life would have paid any wage that I had asked. But I was unwilling to do the work, make the effort to create the ultimate life. So you can have whatever you want, and there are steps to get there. When you live heart first, you can stop performing according to the expectations of others and start creating your own life. Something I discovered late in life, in my 50s, was that I literally am the architect of my life. I get to create it any way I want to. And the cool thing is it doesn't matter. I was 52 when I started on that journey, and it didn't matter. I didn't have to start when I was 20. I started at 52. And I'm able to create life, and I did, and I live now a life of ultimate joy every day. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about is I want to talk more about these gifts and talents. You're not random. I said that. You're a chosen person, a chosen messenger or gift bearer. And you know that in your own heart. If you look back at your life experiences, you have had experiences that have taught you things, that have refined you in certain ways. Maybe you had an illness. Maybe you were abused as a kid. Maybe you had physical struggles or other kinds of things that you got through. Now, when we have those kind of difficult things, and maybe they're small ones, you weren't raised in a nurturing environment or something, and it wasn't one of the earth-shattering ones. Everybody has trouble. Everybody has problems, challenges, brick walls, every single person who breathes air. The choice that we have is whether we allow them to ruin us or to refine us. Now, I certainly know what it's like to allow my challenges to ruin me and to live in a reactionary mode, angry at others and at the universe because my path was so thorny or rocky. I know what that's like. I'll bet you do too. Now I know what it's like to have those same difficulties refine me because the lessons, they come back. The opportunities for refinement are recurring. And I love that about the design of this life. You and I were built to grow, excel, and shine. And if you choose to let the struggles of your life refine you, you are more powerful, you're more creative, you're more capable, you're more valuable. I can tell you this. When I allowed the difficulties that I had struggled to ruin me, put a chip on my shoulder, make me angry, carry resentment, and that sort of thing, I was not very effective at life, either in business or in personal life. So neither one of the aspects of life were very successful. When I went back and looked at the same things and allowed them to refine me, meaning change how I think about them, change me to be refined, closer to spirit, kinder, more loving. When I allowed that to happen, my success went way up in business, which means prosperity, and in every aspect of life, relationships, joy, just living in joy every day. I love my life every day. And I'm not magic. I'm not special. I just said yes to the challenges. I said yes to the refiner's fire. I said yes to looking for ways to make myself better. How can I be a better person? And a lot of that comes from looking at things where you did something and you think, that wasn't the best reaction. And then not just leaving it there. Fix whatever you did, clean it up if you need to, and then ask a really important question. What do I need to do to be the person that does that differently? Automatic. To train myself to be kinder, to be less reactive, to be more understanding, or whatever it is. How do I do that on purpose and become a better person? All right, so here's another couple of facts that go along with being a divine being. You were known before you got here. You were created. You came here on purpose. You chose to come. So did I. We all did. We were excited at this opportunity. Now, one of the conditions, and we probably didn't understand how difficult that would make it, was that we can't remember where we were, what happened before. Well, we have little glimpses. People have feelings about past life or having been somewhere else, and those are real. You were somewhere before you came here. But most of that is blocked out of our minds so that this learning experience can be complete and fulsome. And we can learn to manage, if we want to, our growth here. And nobody requires us to grow. We can come here, we can stay addicted to mediocrity, we can complain, and social media, all you have to do is look at social. You'll find hordes of people who seem to make a living and a life out of complaining, sometimes bitterly and viciously, and that seems to be their fuel. Their daily fuel is to be angry and frustrated at somebody, or to criticize and be angry at stuff, call names. You can do that. You're free to, obviously, because there's hordes of people that do, but the yearning inside of you is for you to be better, to lift and bless and serve. Now, that doesn't mean making somebody agree with you. It just means to lift and bless and love and serve. Now, when I use those squishy words, you might immediately think of, working in a food kitchen or, some kind of service, and that's all included, and those are wonderful things, and I've done lots of that, and I'm sure you have too. But service is also the way to be paid the most. As a coach, consultant, counselor for business and for life, I find that the more service I give, the more I get paid, because I have brought more value to someone's life. And so getting paid for service and for love is not difficult. And the reason is because it is so rare and so valuable. Where we are and how we have experiences in life is not accidental. Life was tailored for us. And it was tailored based on who we are, what we'd learned before, what we need to do now, and to give us the best, hear this, the best opportunity for our highest development and greatest joy. Our highest development, greatest joy come from listening to that nudge. That's the heart of the matter. Okay? My experiences have shaped and informed all that. That's why I've written so darn many books. I've written 20 and I'm working on number 21. Not because I want to say I've written 20 books, but because I keep learning these things. Walking Without Fear, a book on forgiveness, a book on the results equation, Meeting God at the Door, talking about when I died, and many others, Tightrope of Depression, and on and on. Each one is a book that came because I needed to write this. I needed to document what I'd learned because I wanted to serve with it. And all those experiences have given me great success and great power as a coach and a mentor to others. And I want to say again, there's nothing special about me. I've just chosen, after I changed direction of my life in 2007, to say yes to all the nudges, to say yes to the opportunity to serve, to say yes to live, lift, and bless. My business plan's really simple. Yes, I have a coaching business, and it's very successful. And my business plan's simple. I look and find people to love, opportunities to serve, and problems to solve. And clients come in abundance. So I never enter any conversation with the idea there might be money or client here. I don't even think about that. That just happens as a result of serving and being authentic and connecting with people and giving valuable service, coaching, and advice. People ask, how can we do this more? And then we talk about, professional things. So I don't know what your business is. This can apply if you're an employee in somebody else's business. Be the best that you can be. Give in to the yearning for excellence. Give in to the yearning to demonstrate your divine capabilities. Listen to the nudges to serve, whether they belong in your job or outside your job or in your community or your hobbies or your church or your sports or whatever, your family, your kids, everyone around you. Life is so much more joyful when we live in the principle of service, when we forgive. There's a song that the Eagles did call, I think might have been called The Heart of the Matter, but it said, I think it's about forgiveness. And it is. Forgiveness has played a massive and pivotal role in my own journey, getting away from shriveled and angry and frustrated and bitter and blaming and suffering to a place of purpose, prosperity, and joy that I live in every day. Now, I have a mission this year, and my year starts October 14th. So April 14th, which will be a few days ago, a couple of weeks ago when you get this, that's half year. My goal is to reach 300 million people through various means: television, radio, broadcast, podcasts, appearances, books, coaching, videos, all that. And what I'm reaching them with is this message. You are infinitely capable. You're not using anywhere near all your tools and power. You're divine. You matter. So that's the first part, is the message to lift up your head, rejoice, love yourself fiercely, honor yourself, and listen to those nudges. That's the message. And part two of the reaching 300 million means method. Those that are interested and resonate with that message and say, I always knew there were those feelings that I couldn't do stuff. I've got all kinds of things to help. Like I said, I've written books and got programs, and they're my offering to those who want help to do that. And the third part is mastery, because truthfully, most people are not willing, at least in my experience, to do the difficult work to get to mastery in anything. Lots of people take piano lessons. Very few get to mastery. Lots of people ride bikes. Very few are in the Tour de France. Lots of people do, watercolors. Very few paint at mastery level. Lots of people dabble in chess. Very few, get to the master or grandmaster. It takes work. And if you're going to master this personal growth, if you're going to master your emotions, master the way you show up in the world, and be that beacon of light, vessel of love, and conduit of power, it takes work. And so I have a message, I have a method, and I have mastery opportunities for a few. And it's plenty enough, because there are only a few that want to walk the road to mastery. and that road is available to you without condition, you can have your ultimate life. Anything you want, and live in purpose, prosperity, and joy every day, but it isn't going to come in an Amazon box. It isn't going to come download and double click. Here's the last thing I want you to remember from this part, and that is you matter. You absolutely matter. You matter. Your existence is evidence of divine intention. The odds of you existing are incalculably small. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here is goals. I said earlier that goals, when they align with your intention and attention, that is the source of your prosperity and purpose. So you can set whatever goals you want. You can say, I need a certain amount of money. You can say, I said I'm going to reach 300 million people. And in that process, I create all kinds of money. You can set whatever goals you want. And the secret to infinite motivation, to infinite discipline, to infinite joy is when you align the goals with the yearnings you have in your heart. Like if you say, I'm just going to make money, then you can go learn a skill and go sell in the marketplace, get a job and sell that skill in the marketplace. And 80%, or some surveys say 85% of people don't like their jobs. Well, the skill that they're selling in the marketplace doesn't align with their divine purpose. And there's nothing wrong with that, except it's never going to produce the fulfillment you want. And it's not a surprise. So the effort to find out, to discover your divine meaning and purpose is worth every effort. Because when you create goals aligned with that, you're happy on the way, you're happy at the beginning, you're happy in the middle, you're happy doing the work, you're happy looking at the end, you're happy getting to the end, and then you pick more goals. And it's not work, it's joy, it's fun. It's sometimes tough sledding. But the heart of the matter is we're built to work. We're built to love and serve each other, and it doesn't feel like work. When you create alignment with your divine purpose, it's play. So I get to play all day, every day, reaching 300 million people, to love you, to tell you how amazing you are, to help you if you want my help, to offer videos and books and podcasts and coaching and services if you want my help. What I want to assure you is it's worth it, you matter, and there's nothing you can't achieve. Now, you can laugh at me, or you can say, what if he's telling the truth? What if that's right? Who do I got to be? What do I have to change? Because right now, you and I, we are exactly where we want to be. We're exactly what we've created. And that may be hard doctrine. Now, if you're a kid and you're in a difficult environment, I'm not saying that. But when you're an adult and you've grown out of that, you have the opportunity to be responsible, to create your future. Now, I am the first to tell you, you can't do it by yourself. Nobody ever reaches the pinnacle of their performance in music, athletics, or anything else without help, without coaching, without teaching, without a lot of work. Nobody. But the good news is it's possible. The second piece of good news is it's all under your control. The third piece of good news is nobody can stop you. It's possible, it's under your control, and no one can stop you. So the only thing missing from that equation is my commitment to take the road to mastery, to love, to kindness, to growth, to service, to purpose, prosperity, and joy. Now, I've developed many tools for myself that I now share with you and everybody else in books and programs. But I'm going to ask you right now to take that first challenge, 5 minutes in the mirror. I love you, to yourself, and say it slowly and tenderly. And if you have to give a reason, because I'm even here, because I'm still breathing, because I'm not destroyed by whatever difficult thing happened. But do it 5 whole minutes and stay at it until you begin to feel tenderly towards yourself, till your heart is warm, because then you'll know you're touching the heart of the matter. It's not just an exercise. Go do that and everything's fixed. We live in a world that teaches that. Download, double-click, order this, and you're all done. Life doesn't work like that. Growth doesn't work like that. Anything worth doing is worth enduring the challenges that it takes. So you can have anything you want. You have to do the work, and no one can stop you. You're divine. My mission is to serve, to help, to lift, to bless, and at the same time keep myself in shape spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, to love you this moment with everything that I have. So I invite you, here's 3 invitations. I'm inviting you to return to the heart of the matter, your own heart, your goals, why and how you matter. Figure out what your purpose is. It's not hard. People say, well, I don't know. They act like they're wandering in the desert and they're waiting for somebody to tell them. It's possible. And if you want help, get a hold of me. So the first invitation, return to the heart of the matter. You're valuable, you're precious, and you can have anything you want. The second invitation is, on this podcast, I often interview people and share their stories of growth and success, of overcoming challenges, of making the kinds of decisions I'm talking about, and either winning or on the way to winning. So if you have a story you'd like to share and you'd like some amplification, I'd like to talk to you. Go to KellanFluckigerMedia.com, KellanFluckigerMedia.com. It's a URL that's up here. And find the contact form. Let's talk. I'd love sharing your story. If you want any help finding a purpose, creating your own life experience, creating your ultimate life, purpose, prosperity, and joy, let's talk, because that's all I do. And I have achieved that. So I'm from a place of purpose, prosperity, and joy, loving my life every day, and anxious to be of service to you. So remember, your heart matters. You're not an accident. You're loved. Your goals are sacred. They're a representation of your expression of your divinity. Goals are sacred. Treat them that way. At this moment, right now, this is your call to say yes to your divine nudges. This is your call to say, yes, I matter. Yes, I'm going to do something about it. I don't know how difficult this is going to be, but yes, I'm going. Yes, I will. Yes, I am. Yes. I can make you some promises. If you do, and if you stay on the road, you'll get to your destination. Ultimate life, purpose, prosperity, and joy, or whatever your three words are. I love you. My heart is warm with tenderness toward you. No matter what struggles you have, I know you're divine and you're capable. And there's nothing that can stop you from reaching the goals that you have. If I can help, reach out. And I just can't wait to see what you create as you live your ultimate life.
Never hold back and you'll never ask why. Open your heart and this time around.
Right here, right now, your opportunity for massive growth is right in front of you. Every episode gives you practical tips and practices that will change everything. If you want to know more, go to KellanFluckigerMedia.com. If you want more free tools, go here, YourUltimateLife.ca. Subscribe, share.
Stand with your heart in the sky and your feet on the ground.